chokwadi pasi pano taiona moto marongera vanoita wepanyika vanoda kuti isu vamwe tioneswe moto dai pasina kupindira kwaishe chokwadi pasi pano taiona moto.
We bring 2025 to a close, and this year has been full of activity in terms of the politics, economy, and social effects that have affected the people of Zimbabwe. The people of Zimbabwe, as they look towards 2026, which also promises a little bit of fireworks, as Zimbabwe is focused on the Agenda 2030 that has been put on the table by ZANU-PF, and how the opposition forces are going to react to this, or if at all they are going to react. And also, importantly, how internally ZANU-PF is going to be reacting on this. Now, this is, and this will always be, the situation right now. With me, your host as usual, Dara B. Now, we talk people, power, politics, and you. Join me after this break on this, the situation right now. Welcome back to this, the situation right now. With me, your host as usual, Dara B. And we are going to start on a topic that has been viral on social media. Now, this is the weekend's by-election in Bulawayo. And these by-elections point to something that is very critical in Zimbabwe's body politic, the state of the opposition in Zimbabwe. Now, for me to be able to discuss this and give you insights into it, I'm joined by Engineer Mudzuri, the last known elected executive mayor of Harare, the former vice president of the MDCT, as led by Morgan Changirai, and one person who is now championing the return or the reunification of the MDCT as it were known then under Morgan Changirai. Now, thank you for joining me, Engineer Mudzuri, and welcome to the situation right now.
Thank you, yes. Dara B. Thank you for inviting me. And
yeah, I see we have worn same trousers today, same color trousers. Let us talk about, Engineer. Let's talk about the by-elections that you took part in Bulawayo, where they were won by ZANU-PF. Now, what does that tell you or tell the people about the opposition in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, I just wanted to greet Zimbabweans first and say, wish them a Merry Christmas, although it's doomed because of financial difficulties which are being faced by Zimbabweans. I just want to wish them a reasonably good Christmas, be in good spirits, and work towards uniting your families and friends, and know that Zimbabwe one day will make it and make happiness index grow. Otherwise, we can go to what you are discussing of the politics of Zimbabwe. Yes, you say we contested in the Bulawayo election. I don't subscribe to that. We didn't participate in the Bulawayo election. In our last interview, you remember I said we have no opposition in existence. The fragmented opposition that went had so many names, but a good opposition movement or party must have structures. So Douglas I don't know who is advising him, decided to represent MDCT. Although he has been nullified, we've already discussed that. The whole country knows he has been nullified. He has no following, and he ends up with 23 votes. So it has never happened in MDC that you get such poor votes. And he's giving us a bad name. So I wouldn't want to blame him for trying democracy, but he's trying it on the wrong footing. What we were looking at, if I were to talk about MDC participating in the election, we can participate once we strengthen our structures. There is no way in the world where something grows without structures. Even an NGO has got structures that work if you want to go countrywide. Even chiefs, you have unotanga sub chief, unotanga paramount chief, sub chief, koita crow head, wazeta machinda. That's a structure. When you go to governance, it has got provinces, which we need to have as a political party, which we had before. Ask any of these politicians, if you don't have a provincial structure, you don't have a district structure which represents a constituency, if you don't have a ward structure which represents another lower constituency, there's no way you can talk of going to an election, because you lack that representation at the grassroots level and you don't expect to win anything. So when we talk of any substantive opposition to come in place, we can have 29 of them contesting elections. It's just a waste of time. We need a well-organized political party like what used to be MDC. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, it's what it is.
Mm-hmm. So some would argue that structures are not really an issue because the CCC went into election at a point where people said it had no structure, but it performed better than the MDC, which had structures it done in previous elections. It actually stopped for the first time ZANU-PF from having 2/3 majority, barring the 2008 elections where the MDC had the majority in parliament. But in other substantive elections, the CCC had actually outperformed itself rather, with allegations that it didn't have structures.
No, I'll correct you. Actually, CCC didn't get 1/3. It went below 1/3. I think check again your statistics. It's not correct. That's why right now ZANU is going solo. It's playing games like.
So before Chabangu came in, ZANU-PF did not have a 2/3 majority in parliament after these elections.
It had. Check again. The only competent vote was from Nelson. The rest wasn't good enough. We can check. I don't need to argue with you, but we can check. I can assure you that they went with the 2/3. That's why they've been doing all this nonsense before that. And the number of seats were less. They were less than 2008. So the outperformance is not there. It's because of numbers, and the population has grown. So when the population has grown, you expect more numbers of votes, not less numbers of votes, but then not the number of seats you expect. If we check the statistics, you will discover that 2008 was better. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. When people went for elections, they went for a reasonable protest to vote. But if they had structures, they would have done much better and even have overtaken ZANU-PF. When you destroy your structures, you destroy even your representative at the polling station.
In the election in 2023, MDC had structures. Had it not, it had just come from a Congress. It had Douglas Mudzuri leading it, but it actually performed dismally, the worst performance ever in its history. So what level did structures play?
Darabi. We can talk of structures. There are so many politicians who talk they have structures. You just need to go on the ground and check We have long said we have no structures. That's why we opted out that we didn't have a Congress, and it has been confirmed by the arbitrator, which is the court. In our constitution, the arbitrator is the court. So when the arbitrator said your Congress was null and void, we contested on the basis that there were no structures. And that's why the nominations was done at a level of the National Executive, National Council, which is just people picked up by Mudzuri. So it's a shame that we talk about it, that it was a Congress. It was not a Congress. Which country goes for a Congress for 1 hour even? Which party? Because that's where you discuss your process of going for the next 5 years. You discuss it at Congress. You go with the resolutions at Congress. You go with your agenda for the 5 years at Congress. So if you want me to discuss a laughing stock, no, let's discuss something else. There is nothing. That's why we say we need to rebuild MDC from scratch. Thank God the courts realized that we have nothing left. And they said this is null and void. So we have nothing. That's why I say masquerading as MDCT in these elections it's a scandal.
Let's talk about where you or the party fell out with each other with Douglas Mudzuri, who was your president then. What exactly was he doing wrong that the people must know so that they appreciate where you're coming from?
If people want to know, the first Congress that we did when Douglas Mudzuri became president, which was the EOC, what we call Extraordinary Congress, which was done at
Rainbow Towers.
Rainbow Towers. It was a sham Congress as well. There were no, what was agreed was abandoned. We needed structures from 2014. But instead of bringing those, Mudzuri sat on a lot of things. He was the Secretary General then. He played on a lot of things and tricked. And we ended up with no register of voters. So they just buzzed in some people. And we didn't finish that. A lot of people left. I had left when I realized that people were coming from different doors, being accredited and being asked to vote in certain corners. It's not because we couldn't do the politics, but politics of fighting over leadership doesn't help. Because people must accept you as a leader and allow people to vote. Just like we criticize ZANU to say, apatabirwa, apataita. So when Kanashiri correct, let's accept. So in that Congress, it was wrong. So I opted out and said I would rather be an ordinary member. Then Mudzuri came up and said no. Then, since it was a short term, about 1 year or so, to finish Vatshangirai's term, we accepted to say, a proper Congress. And this was my agreement with him when I agreed to deputize him. On another note, let's call in Nelson. I phoned Nelson. I got, no. If we say rule of law, you can still win. Let's do one thing together. Because what we did after Tsvangirais' death wasn't good. I got, kana, atitomboshikwanisi. Ndaitowana uende panapa achitotora kudzinga kuparliament. Ndikati Mudzuri atadzi ndikati Mudzuri ndaita sei? Ndikati anyway, zvatiri kutaura ndezvekuti let's renew our party, tiite extraordinary congress as per our constitution, then we proceed. Ndakati handizvikwanisi. I can't do that. I have moved on. So we forgot about that, and that was my last time to talk to Nelson on the phone or anywhere else. So I was thinking of bringing everyone together then. Couldn't get one. To winner, because we'll have followed our constitution, and also allow members not to cheat. You know, it's easy to consider others cheats. But when you are cheating in an election, you can cheat also in your private life. But don't cheat in an election, because Yes, you get the power, but you are not so safe. You don't feel secure. So this is why you have so many insecurities in some of these opposition presidents. They don't want to see anyone near you. We must allow people to play around and probably challenge you here and there, as long as they are not destroying the institution. Now, after the EOC, we exceeded the time because of COVID, and then the real sham came. We never did a Congress at all. So none of us can claim that we continued Tsvangirai's legacy or we continued to represent the MDC, the old MDC we had. Because the old MDC had fairly reasonable democratic tenets to choose its leadership. It was reasonable. I wouldn't say it was 100%, but it was very reasonable that it's acceptable. As you know, in any country, there is an acceptable level of practicing democracy. And to me, if we continue like that, we are going nowhere, because we should allow members and the public to choose their leadership.
You eventually, Douglas Mudzuri was kicked out of Harvest House, and also the courts have nullified your Congress. So what is the roadmap? Because I asked this question because just a few weeks, I think 2 weeks ago, I saw a statement from the camp that supports Mudzuri. I also sat down with him on this chair, and he spoke about a meeting of the National Executive. He spoke about him holding the structures, and advently, he issued notices of firing you, or firing Sheikh Mukoi and other members from the party. Let's talk about this.
But you can fire anyone if you want. You can fire from this place. I can also fire him from this interview, but it's null and void. When you use a nullity to use it as if you are correct, that is wrong. When they say it's null and void, it means you are no longer there, isn't it? If an election is gone, you don't say I'm presiding over a government when the courts have said it's null and void.
But he argues that the court nullified the Congress, but not his election as president. That's what
How does that happen? What is a Congress? Does it exclude one from the other? I mean, Darabi, let's not debate madness. It's madness. I'm saying once it's said this thing is nullified, the whole election is nullified. It's nullified. You cannot claim to say I'm there. It's these people. How do you do it? I'm just asking you. He's a lawyer himself. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I'm an engineer. I think methodically. Maybe he just thinks he can win the minds of the people by lying and talking to you. When you read it, do you see a nullity becoming a reality? A nullity is a nullity. Just like it was Smith's days. They said the whole 15 years of Smith's days were a nullity. It became a nullity and lots of them to come to represent the Queen, isn't it? So when it's a nullity, it's a nullity. But you cannot ignore what happened during that period, but you cannot continue to claim kuti Mudzuri wazoti ndinda andiri prime minister, so ndoramba ndiripo. Is that the way? No. Even Smith? No. None of them. So you don't say ndakambo bata saka ndiripo. It's not like that. So I'm just saying inini kuti zvinotaurwa naDhagi kuti ndafaya munhu. Unomufaya sei when you have no structure? When a Congress is nullified, you don't have a council, you don't have an executive, you don't have even the structures, because at the beginning the structure said we were not properly constituted. There was no Women's Congress, there was no Youth Congress. Then you say, in Indian right? I mean, vakomana kakatireke kupedza time dzevanhu vanotozotiti munopenga muri kudhibeta munhu anopenga, because ukadzingirana munhu anopenga iye akashama iwe wakashama aba nhumbi dzako unopedzisira wanzi ndiwe unotopenga.
So every time there's a split or there's misunderstanding in the MDC, you guys shout at each other, you call each other names, you fire each other. And it makes it so difficult for you to reunite after that because of this acrimony. How do you propose to bring people together who have been so much, hating each other to that extent that you fire each other, you call each other, names at the end?
Vanhu vanofaya vanhu vanopenga. Politics ofaiwa munhu uri one. Politics hadzifaiwa nomunhu one. Politics ofaiwa nepofu nevanhu vanokuvhoterai. That's why I say it's nonsense to fire someone when you have almost no power.
But how do you unite such different views?
The unity comes from the public. It doesn't come from individuals. Yes, if I fail, there's no need to vote me. I failed. There's need to look for other leaders. But once you have your concrete institution, that is like anyone else in any governance. You need strong institutions to support a government, isn't it? You need strong structures. You need strong people who understand that this is our party. It doesn't belong to an individual. That individual must be able to be taken out. No one is indispensable. We're all going to leave that institution one day. So once we think like that, we become strong Zimbabweans. We become strong members. We also need to solidify around an ideology. We are social democrats. We should think of what we should do to help the nation, not just that I'm in power. You can't help the nation when you have no one behind you, especially when you're a leader and during your 5-year period, you secure 23 votes in an election, in an urban area where you used to win such large votes. How do you remain leading? Honestly, it pains me. Maybe because I think methodically, I think scientifically, that if you cannot build a bridge that is weak and walk on it, otherwise you fall down. You need to build a strong bridge which people can walk on for life.
Maybe that 23 votes or 25 votes that you got in Bulawayo actually reflect not the end of Douglas Mudzuri as an era, but the end of the MDC-T as a party, that its era is finished. You need to move on. You need to change the vehicle that you're using.
No. The era of MDC won't end. It is the era of the leadership that ends. That I'm Elias Mudzuri. I have risen to a certain creek. I will go down one day, and someone might come up in Mudzuri's name. You don't kill the name, because that's where you belong. You don't need to kill ZANU as a party. What need to go are individuals. And ZANU remains. MDC remains. In any country, parties go up and down. Look at the Conservatives. They have been up and down. They even removed their prime minister for going to dance during COVID because they had gone against just the natural rules of COVID. Here, we are not looking at that. We are looking at leaders who even want to remain in power when they have nothing to show for it. In other countries, when you fail to win an election or to represent yourself in an election as a leader, you're out. You can't continue to say, I'm there. Last election, Douglas didn't contest if he was a president. He didn't. He didn't even have enough MPs to contest. And he blames everyone except himself. So discussing Douglas is wasting the country's time. To me, I don't hate him. He has already messed his pants. All people see is the smell. And they just need him to clean himself up. And if he wants to become a politician. So that's all there is. And once you get the top position, it's not easy to go back once you see people not liking you. So people need to find themselves at the top. And when I'm not talking that we have not been at the top. I have not been at the top most. But we need that strength that brings your history to bring people coming to contest with vigor. Now, honestly, therapy to discuss such failure is not necessary. There is no hatred in MDC. There is just individual egos which need to be dealt with. And that's why in my last interview somewhere I said Zimbabweans need to think about themselves. They need to look at their institutions. And this institution called MDC once grew, and it can grow. It can fall down and grow. And people, what they know about MDC was good. Dollar for two, things went during unit government. People managed to press themselves a little bit after the win. And that time I was the organizing secretary when we won. It just needs right organizational skills, not noise. Noise won't help us in our situation. And to be honest with you, there is enough space for us to organize ourselves.
So how are you organizing yourselves? Because now you have taken control of Harvest House, which is the citadel of power for the MDC. What is the roadmap? What is the path that you're taking?
Taking over Harvest House is just a home for every Zimbabwean who wants to be at Harvest House. It's not our prime destination. Our prime destination is rebuilding the party. Going to Harvest House to show that everyone can come to Harvest House. Unfortunately, it's in such a bad state that if you invite anyone, they would run away. The toilets are not working, the water is not working, everything needs to be serviced. So the roadmap we have is, since we have no more structures, the last structures were in 2014. So
it's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. And people have gone, some to CCC, some to other parties, some have been joining ZANU-PF. Those who have been in leadership positions, you cannot talk of that structure anymore. So we have formed what we call we want to form what we call a caretaker council. Not yet, it's being formed. We have created what we call a steering committee. A steering committee which should now form provinces and get representatives of provinces who want to be renewing this party. Then they go down to districts. After district, they go down to wards. From wards, they go down to branches. Then they start forming them from down up. It will be nucleuses of people who are doing that. And we are on it. It's just that we are actually appealing to Zimbabweans who want to help us. We need resources because it's not a small job. It's a very big job. And if you are somewhere where you are, if you really want, you can start it wherever you are. Bring people together and we recognize you. We're even inviting new members. Any member who thinks we can rebuild MDC with its name, and then we grow from down up. The only difference is that we need certain old members who understand the culture of MDC to start the nuclear points so that they can explain to those new people what our culture is. Then we grow up to province. We really confirm those structures. Then we go for a national congress as soon as we can. We needed about 6 months, but because we have had so many stretches in court, we have not started the 6 months. We should start it maybe in January, once we find that the nucleuses are done in the different provinces. So we are inviting Zimbabweans, those who really feel we can work together and do that. The steering committee is right now it consists of very few members who are doing the initial job of linking up the rest of the country. So I take myself out so that they can do it certain lower levels. They can do it so that it's not my thing. It is the country that must wield the power of reforming or reuniting MDC members and those who have not been there. That is what we are looking at.
And you said this process will take about 6 months. Are you then doing away with those who have been saying that they're the founding members and their place is sealed in the MDC?
No, how do you do away with them? We're inviting everyone. And we are saying, this is your time. You go and start it wherever you are. We are not pushing anyone.
But some of these people have been so divisive in the MDC. They've been gatekeepers. They have been the reason probably why you are in this mess in the first place. Now, how are you cleansing yourself from those people who many view as the reason why the MDC is in this place?
You know, you can never cleanse yourself from debt totally. It's always with you. The moment you wash your mouth, you have enough bacteria to digest the next food. So we will never be clean of any of these people. Those who have gone away, like those who have formed their own political entities, they can go. We don't need them. And they are allowed, it's their democratic right. But for those who have not chosen a path, they can come. And those who think they've gone astray, they can come. That's why I'm saying we need new members. That's even in our recruitment, we are going to be infiltrated. But we are not afraid of that. We strongly believe that infiltration is a political game. But sometimes when they come and enjoy what they feel different democracy, they'll be able to have something different from this forced democracy. Those gatekeepers will come and try the gatekeeping. We are now asking Zimbabweans to choose local leadership that they trust. They must trust that leadership. They must move with it. They must take it and make them their representatives in the next election. And I can bet you 2028, if we manage that, whoever is at the top, if I'm the one, I can guarantee you we will beat them. We'll beat ZANU-PF because already no one wants it. No one is in love with ZANU-PF in spite of all the freebies, in spite of all the cars, in spite of everything. They are tired. Not only tired, people have no money. Their happiness index is down. And they are going to one of the saddest Christmases that I've never seen. Where have you seen a country that lacks a beverage? A beverage. Coke is not available. Beer is not available. You might get shortage of water even. There's no water sometimes. So what do you mean? There's no power. There's nothing. So what is it that they have to show? They can claim up to 2030 because people are too hungry. Maybe too hungry people are difficult to organize. But this is when you say, let all our ancestors and God come in. We don't know their powers, the spiritual powers, but they come in to save the nation. Yeah, but you have to work to do it. Don't overbelieve in spirituality. You can only ask it to aid you because you can't fight what you don't know.
You talk about people not being happy with ZANU-PF, but the MDC has been accused, especially over the past 3-4 years, has been accused of hobnobbing with ZANU-PF, of actually gaining the support of ZANU-PF in an attempt to oust Nelson Chamisa and his colleagues from politics. How do you cleanse yourself from that?
You see, anyone who does anything differently is considered to be working with the ZANU or something. I believe ZANU has got the country. You have to play the game to beat them, not the game of joining them, not the game of betraying the nation, but the game of politics. But the game of politics is not accusing everyone of being working with ZANU-PF. I think anyone who knows how to play the game and statecraft knows how to manage their life when you are doing politics. But what does he have? Why should you oust him?
He was leading the MDC alliance at that particular time.
And
at the time when you took control of Harvest House at that particular time, for the very first time, we saw Harvest House being protected by police officers who had trucks parked outside of Harvest House for the very first time since the formation of the MDC. For the very first time since the formation of the MDC, we saw Tendai Biti, Lynette Kairenyi Kore, and others being arrested as they tried to enter Harvest House. For the very first time, as Douglas Mudzuri occupied that Harvest House. And they're still in court right now over that matter.
I'm not sure what transpired, but if you have got a court order, you get arrested. I'm not saying it was good, but also they had also misbehaved. Those people had misbehaved. Everyone was in breach of our constitution. So if I go to and breach the contract that we have, and people go to court, and the people are given a license to go and protect, they don't stop. I was a minister. I was given protection by the police. Did I become ZANU-PF? People were ministers. Tendabit was being protected by police officers and CID when we were in the unit government. Did they become ZANU-PF? If they become ZANU-PF, it's unfortunate. But I'm saying state representation at any place doesn't make you a ZANU-PF. Yeah, actually, what you are now insinuating is the police are ZANU-PF. If they are, then it's a terrible error. It's not acceptable.
I say this, Engineer Mudzuri, because in the past, and I've seen this, where some of your supporters were actually beaten up. When they went to the police to report that they'd been beaten up during elections, they were the ones who were arrested and not those who had beaten them up. Wherever your members had been complainants or victims, they were the ones who were arrested. And for the very first time, we saw police protecting Harvest House. Something every other time we saw police at Harvest House, before then, we knew that there was going to be tear gas thrown inside the Harvest House. For the very first time, it was the opposite. So this is why I'm asking. Maybe you can explain to me what prompted that shift.
I didn't even follow that, because when it happened, I was told there was no one, and I was not going to Harvest House quite often. So whatever happened, you are now telling me you even know that there was tear gas that went through. If they did that, police are not allowed to just throw tear gas into rooms. They are wrong. If I tell you my experience, go and Google a violent response and know what the police have done to me and my family. You Google it, a violent response in Zimbabwe by Opel Chimon. There's so much that has happened to my family and myself. If you want to talk about it, then you know that I don't subscribe to any wrong thing being done by the police. But at the end of the day, if something goes wrong, I have to report to them. Don't I?
So
I'm asking. I have to go, and if they beat me up, it's unfortunate. Even if you have something stolen, you have to go to them. And sometimes they say, we don't have transport. Can you take us there or bring the person? So when a police officer say, bring the person, I'm even afraid of the person. Maybe who has beaten me up. That means they don't want, or they're afraid of the person. So it's now misdemeanors within the force that needs to be corrected by a correct government. But otherwise, we don't have to label the police that they are a party objective. They are party sympathizers. If we do that, if they do that, it's not acceptable. But then that is what we need to change in the country. The governance has to change so that police don't become partisan. You know what I mean?
So my question would be, how are you going to transform yourselves from this image that people have formed in their mind?
No, you are telling them they're formed. I talk to them. They tell me, you guys do something. So I'm not sure which people, because you might have formed something yourself and others. But there are those who still believe that we can do something. Those are the people we invite. Those who want to do something will do until they see something shining. That's all when they come. Today we are using Elon Musk's system. It has overtaken other people's systems because he went and ventured. Who would have imagined he would be joining the stars? So sometimes you have to dream high. No, this is not dreaming. You have to do the practicalities to bring something up. So we are doing the hard work. We are right in the kitchen, bending our fingers to say, come together and let's do one thing. Let's bring Zimbabwe, the opposition, which we knew, back on its feet. It's the hardest job you can ever do. Who wants that job when you have no resource? Even when you have a resource, You must put the resource to where it should work so that we raise the awareness to say, look, don't run away from your family. Don't run away from your name. Munochinja mutupo nokuvhakacha munopenga. Kana mutupo wako mtlanga uri mutupo wako. Kana mkaita poor say you have to keep it. So if you have said you have DNA, MTC, reorganize yourselves. Look at your faults. Re-introspect and come together. Form the structures. Let's meet as structures. This thing will work because that's what it means. It needs local preachers. The local preachers were appointing anyone who feels that honestly this MDC played a part. When you say you were mayor of Harare, people had to make me mayor, and I had to leave a mark. And if I didn't leave a mark, you wouldn't be talking about it. So people must leave a mark where they are. If they don't leave a mark, in terms of their work, not a mark of dishonesty and a mark of failure, it must be a mark of reasonable success. So that is what we are talking about. And if you go and study about change, change is the most difficult thing. People are not easy to change. And it's integral. In science, we call it integral. It's in small, small parts. So by the time you realize that we have moved, you come and interview me in the next few months and say, I was thinking it was never going to happen. I thought Zimbabweans change. They change. We just need to fashionize it. Fashionize the MDC. And if people think it's gonna be. If it doesn't, at least we've tried to bring back the MDC we want. We don't say we just forgot it. I had a certain understanding with Morgan that we should never allow this party to die. And this is where my energy comes from, to say, why should we allow such a good thing to just die? Because of selfishness. Those who want will come. And we don't want selfish leadership. We want people who really feel that they can make a difference. We can do with anyone who thinks they can make a difference. And leadership will come and succeed each other.
You talk about a steering committee that is a few people who are pushing right now. Who are these people and what are the positions that they are holding?
There's no position. Mm-hmm. It's a steering committee. A committee is a committee. A committee is a committee.
A committee needs to be chaired. A committee
No. There is a committee of about 6 people were negotiators to understand each other between Douglas' team and me. I was the lead applicant. And I was his vice then. And when we got the judgment, we said, look, let's call the past bygones be bygones. These people representing the two protagonists, the applicants, and let's talk. Then we agreed that we need to invite everybody. So those people who negotiated, they become our jomic, like to oversee what is happening. And they're headed by Chimanikiri. He had a presser recently, a reasonable presser to say this is what we are going to do. He leads the team that oversees. Then there is a team of other members who have been active to say this is the one they are forming. The steering committee is a few members that are going to phone around the country and bring a full team. If I mention them now, it might not be the best because we want the full committee to be announced when it's full, so that they don't think these are selected individuals. These are just like helping to start the work, the nucleus, to make sure the whole country is represented. So the steering committee will have at least 3 people from each province. That means a woman, a man, and a youth. That they start the process of being like the steering committee.
And this team that calls itself the National Executive and is meeting and issuing out statements, what do you do with it?
There's nothing to do with the nullity. It's nothing. We don't recognize people who just shout. I can say to I'm a president. I can be a president of nothing. Like everyone says they are president. Look, when I came, you said president. I said, no, I'm not a president. I don't have a motorcade yet. So it's what you put in your brain that you want to show off or being something that you are not. Look, there is no national executive. I will repeat, there is no national executive because the concept determined that there is nothing, and something stands on nothing. That's why we need an alternative, which is a committee of members. The only thing that is there is members. Members cannot die even if they haven't paid their subscriptions, because members, they are the last thing that is on the ground to show that there is something. So those members are going to start and even determine when the Congress is being done, because there is no more anyone to do that work in there. We are in a constitutional crisis to some extent because of the nullification, and we have gone 3 years without anything. If we, just like when Lord Sams came here, if you want to know, they didn't have anything to use. They just use the British leadership and say, let's do what can work. If you understand what happened in Zimbabwe, this is the situation we are. So we don't have Lord Sams. We are only the people that we are left are members. So the nation has to go. The nation has to find itself and make the opposition tick. And if you tell me another opposition with structures, I would really be happy. There's none. So let's do the structures and form something that is called, it remains MDC. And in our constitution, there is nothing called T. It's just MDC. Okay? So MDC was the moniker. We used it for elections. The T was representing Tsvangirai. What Tsvangirai is late, it remains MDC. But I'm not changing anything. It's up to members to do that. Anyone can claim that name, but it was representing to say there could be Welshmen's MDC, there could be someone's MDC. So you can differentiate them. Just like you had two Zanus, Zanu Ndonga and Zanu PF. It used to be Jongwe or something. There's nothing in that will stop anyone from claiming to be whatever they are. But if people go with what we are asking them to do, they own the process. They must own the process to say we have done something to rejuvenate our party. And I will be prepared to go around to talk to the people. Sacrifice my time, sacrifice my energy, do whatever resource I can. We need also to look for resources. What I can assure you is we need members to be more alert, formulate these things, then look for your neighbors to say, this is a local thing. Then they come and join the whole thing, and not join and become part of the national thing. And when you now choose your leadership, you are now alert to say, what are we choosing? We want something that works.
Yeah. So you say that if you are elected to lead the MDC, you will deliver the presidency in 2028. ZANU-PF says there are not going to be elections in 2028.
Yeah. Yes. ZANU-PF, if we are stupid, if we don't be careful, they will hold elections in 2030. But also, if we are not so careful, they will hold elections in 2028. Why? Because they are playing a game. They are playing a game on the opposition. They are not playing a game on the nation. Opposition will concentrate on 2030. But from my ears, we should put, you as journalists, we should put President Mnangagwa to task to continue answering that. Your people are saying this, you are saying prepare for elections. What are you really saying? Because he has said it so many times that it's now 3 times. He is saying there will be elections in 2020, and that is the constitution. And he says he's a constitutionalist. There are people who like to feed from the trough. They will always sing a song. But then it could be a game. What we need before even talking about anything is a strong opposition organization. Not of an individual, but of members who believe it's time we take over.
So you said you need at least 6 months to bring this strong opposition into the picture. And what if in those 6 months, by the time you are strong, ZANU-PF has already changed the constitution?
It doesn't. The country doesn't run away. We can fight our war. If they've changed, there's not much you can do. But we are not doing that. We don't give them. Why should they change it? It will be wrong. And President Mnangagwa knows that it will be wrong to change the constitution without going for a referendum. There's a long process that should take place.
How many things that are wrong that ZANU-PF has done and gotten away with?
Yeah, because we are not organized.
Whose fault is it that you're not organized?
It's you and me.
I'm not part of your party.
No, you don't need to be part of. You are in Zimbabwe. You think I suffer in this country alone when you are sitting there? If we don't oppose and win, you also suffer. Look at you. You have been in prison. Have you not suffered? You think they select that you're a journalist? If something is wrong, it's wrong. We have to fight it together. And you have a duty to ask difficult questions and suffer like any other politician. You have to cook lunch on a fire in the sun when it's so hot and make sure people eat. That is the politics of Zimbabwe. And you have to do it as well as a journalist. You say you are not a politician. Who is not? Everyone is a politician. The people just are afraid. Some are not. How do you get there when everyone is saying Tangai Mashka?
So how are you dealing with those people who want to just come, after you have done all the work? And here you're saying
they are welcome. They are welcome. They are welcome. Politics we are late. It's a train. Monosvika iripo munosiiwa anozondoibatira mberi munombohaya taxi wozondoibatira mberi because of difference in speed. What I'm saying is democracy is a choice. It's just like a church. People go to the church that they want, they can change them anytime. But that is what we have created. The method of choosing leadership is democratic, and let's allow it to prevail. That's total democracy. Tochitsvaga leaders edu tochirwisa tiri a situation yevanhu vane zvinhu zvakasimba zvokuti isu hatidi ichi, kwete kuti hatisi kuvenga ZANU isusu, tovenga zviito zvayo. Tiri kuvenga kuti toda kuti vanhu vadye vachiguta, toda happiness index ikure muZimbabwe, toda kuti tive nema-social safety nets. The other day I was at Harare Hospital, tete wangu wachiro. It is a shame that we have that Salim Mugabe Hospital where people can't even attend to patients. I'm told I don't know. How do you buy a coke in a hospital? I don't understand. How do they survive? That must change. This idea kuti vanhu vanotengerana mazimota unongopa munhu asitombozenza ungomuti ndokupa mota wondozvionera mberi ko kuchivaka hospital yeti haya mahara vanhu vachinda zviri nani mochisupervisor maybe iri private zvazvotadza munhu. How do you, in which country even Elon Musk ane a trillion dollars in his account, does he do this work yokungoti waona celebrity womupa mota? But it's becoming it's becoming fashionable. As if it's no one will want to work. We are creating a bad culture. I'm not saying but let's not be a culture. Yokutoti vanhu vanotogarira kuti toda kutomboenda kumbinga idzo dzinopuwa zvinhu zvemahara, and after chinhu chemahara munopuwa muri 3, the rest of the people have nothing. It's not acceptable. Zva2030 ndezvavanhu vasingatarisi kuti taite 2030 shouldn't. Actually, the country is too poor to run a referendum and do all those things. Yes, they can force things and happen, but I can assure you that it will backfire. It was not just backfire, man. izvo hatitombooni to waste time neagenda yevamwe vanhu vane political party yavo. Let's form ours. I mean, let's resuscitate ours. Then we preach our agenda from one desk. But if we don't have, we will be just like backing train ichidarika. Because even ndikataura ndiri one, what does it help? You need an organized community kuti tirambe zvone. Iri kupi naye darabi. Iri community yacho tinoorganize. Imati inini handisi politician. Mese muri majera hamusi politician. But hamusi kutora politician tutazi kuti aiwa.
We are. Aren't I taking you to task right now? That's our job, right?
No, I'm just talking. I'm just saying we need to just be together. And without you guys, we don't get anywhere. Whether opposition or in the ruling, you need journalists, you need media. And also, you need you to understand where we are going. And take us the hard way, I don't mind. Tackle me the hard way. But what I'm getting to, I don't know if I'm being understood, to say it takes very few people to be determined. Change agendas are done by very few people. But when people start believing, they move. They move. And when they move, you don't change them. Some of them die on the way. You don't get your reward immediately. You get it as you go.
Maybe as we come to a close to the program, what are the values that you are promising the people who you are inviting to come and join you? What are you promising them? What are the values, the value system, the beliefs that they must expect as they come to this renewed party that you're talking about?
You know, first and foremost, politics is not a church. Even in church, there's more politics sometimes than in our ordinary politics. Because you can look what has been happening in different churches. They've been fighting over even succession. You know what happened in the Anglican Church? Everything happens because politics maybe is in every institution. But what we expect from our members is to be genuine. Really want to solve the country's problems. We don't need to say we want to replace ZANU when we don't have solutions. We want you to be virtuous. We want you to be virtuous. And we also want you to realize that you represent every person, even your enemy. You must represent them. Why? Because some people don't understand why you are doing it. But once you go into a public place, the public place, as I understand it, is designed to take people's earnings and then convert them into their recycled use. And when you do that, you are responsible for everyone who you tend to take revenue from. And every person who buys something as a government, they take revenue from them in one way or the other. You are taxed through something else. So once you are that, you don't say we are Ndumudi. It's never them against us. It's just us. And I want to make it clear that our enemy is our behavior and also the cultures we are creating. Isu vanhu vatema tanga tine culture yerudo hatichisina yokutongoti hauna kumboona benzi rinoraswa kuvanhu vatema. Wakariona kuti ngarifambe zvaro kana kuti munhu achinzinda kwakusina old people's home muchembero munotomuchengeta ari mumba kwedo ndai munomukanda ku-old people's home. Tanga tichidanana nerudzi rwedu neukama. And this totem thing has brought us together as relatives. If we could love each other, zvokantaurwawo muBhaibheri kuti ida umwe wako sokuda kwaunozviita, would be going far. Because we wouldn't want something happening to you, to someone that you don't want happening to you. Tikangodaro takufamba. And I appeal to this government kuti ngavarege kunetsa vanhu vanonetseka. Vana muzembe ngavabude, vanosungirwe vana muzembe. Kana vakaita zembe unongosungwa. That is not necessary kungosunga vanhu ngoti watadza chunhu. People must live a reasonably free life. But also, they need revenue. They need something to live on. And also, my hospitals ngave, my safety nets, and my schools, mwana wese ngaende kuchikoro. Those things ngazvipabepa, ngazvezvinoitwa. It's important.
And you would deliver this if you run this country?
Of course, I'm saying that is what I would want to happen. And once you're at the top, you have a lot of power. Abuse one, but to make things happen. People are now celebrating Traore. Maybe he makes decisions, maybe he does something. I don't know. I've not been to his country, but I hear people celebrate Traore, maybe because he makes certain decisions that are popular. But populism is not enough. It's also about making people happy at the end of the day. You can be popular for wrong things, and you can be popular for good things. But I want to appeal to Zimbabweans kuti nai tichikongludha vana vanotaura tiri kukumbira kuti mutsai musangano endai munoita mastructure kwamuri muchaona vanhu munotaura navo ikoko kana muchida munofonera tichaisa nhambo papublic yokuti mufone handingakupi yangu mungavuka ndoda kutsvaka mafevha toda kugadzira harvest house inake igadzirwe matoilets nezvinhu zvakadaro vanhu vouya vese vosangana muharvest house vowirirana kuti toita sei because it's the home for everyone. We accept vanhu vese vanga vachiteera vanga vaiteera whoever vanoda kuti tiite chinhu, but don't come to destroy, please come to build. Ungava uchivaka handifi kupane chakaipa, munhu wese takakanganisa somewhere, hapana asina paanokanganisa. Like Jesus said, kana usina chawakambotadza tora dombo utake urere. Hakuna munhu asina chaakatadza. While we say that, we appeal to Zimbabweans kuti vazive kuti tiri one nation. We shouldn't be saying them against us. We are all one nation.
So one nation, one Zimbabwe, talking to build this country in a peaceful and amicable way. But what before I let you go, what do you think 2026 is going to look like for the people of Zimbabwe, Engineer?
It's so gloomy. To be honest with you, Darabi, economy pasiyakafa. There is need for these people anonziti vari government, especially Mudzuri muve netimu yake yefinance, to stop the rot and make sure people live. And if there is over-taxation, it must not be just taxing for the sake of taxing. People have no money. And the people are kunonga zvese. I hope something happens. Let them use our minerals. Let them use everything to jack up the people's lives. People have no starting up methods. And the corruption that is there, it must be cut. I don't know how, but we are getting a wrong culture. And that culture, whoever will come in government, kana atora government, because the culture that is being built, yokuti vanhu vese vanongoti kokora. Handichazivi kuti kokora chii.
And are you proud? Or you once led Harare City Council. Are you proud of this, of how you've once led Harare City Council? Are you proud of how the city is currently and how it's being run?
I'm proud. Vanoti kana wakambotamba bhora matambiro ako kanosiyana neevamwe. Inini ndakambofa kuti ndivabatsire kuti titaure. These people are not listening. I'm not happy. Even ukafona havadzori mafoni, especially staff here paHarare City Council. I'm telling you, even the former mayor, kufona kuti unotaura nemaheads of department, kuda munhu hana anotombodzora ndofunga ndinanikire chonzi. Vamwe vese havadzori foni. My senior leaders are back. I've worked in Avo, they don't. I don't know what culture that is. You see something wrong, you want to talk to them, you can't. I've offered once in a while we can have meetings, even kungovabatsira kuona zvimwe zvinhu You can be a consultant here and there to help them. I'm an engineer. I've worked in Kunana or water and they don't accept. They think maybe you're coming to interfere. So you don't want to go conduct. I'm better or I'm not happy with what I see. Ukaona madezi anombobuda mvura dzichibuda, there are too many. Ukuti mvura inenge yastopwa nekushota kwainomboita. Ukaona tsvina imwe yacho, unoti maybe I don't know. But also isusu sema-citizens. I don't know, we must also have a culture yokutsvakawo kuti environment yedu ingoitawo zviri nani. Zviripowo zvimwe zvinozonyanya kuti vanhu vopinda pakati perodhi kuti vachitengesa kudai, kana nhamo ingapera nokuti wasvika pasenda perodhi wauya neweya yako mandomasa nesoka ifamba muna Robert Mugabe Manheru, mota yaifamba. Saka ndopangapera nhamo here kana iro nhamo yako. Ndongobvunzawo zvangu kuti I don't know why we do that. Mumwe munhu achatovakira imba muna Nyerere kungoti ndapawana pakashama because hapana unenge achitarisa. It's like vatoita zvapera vaita zvapera. I don't understand. It's a lawless place. Asi kuzungana henyu ngobhadharisana mari murodhi tipei aishoma zvakanyanya. I am not happy. And sometimes ndombofunga kuti should I take someone to court? Because zvimwe zvinhu zvacho patunoendana nemukoti, the people are not responsible. They will just leave the institution to pay. Because unoenda nomunhu wacho asiri unosvika odyiwa bhadharisa institution yacho vanhu. Because the people pay the taxes, they pay the levies, they pay everything. So hapana inongoa seko. It's sad. Governance must be understood, and statecraft must be understood. I don't know how many people even who go into, but it's not for your money. You go there to save, and when you save, please know that yes, you have advantages, but you must leave people happy, and your happiness index must grow during your time.
We need to grow the happiness index of Zimbabweans so that we also need to develop our nation and provide jobs, provide hope for the future of Zimbabwe. Now, this is and this will always be the situation right now with me, host as usual, Dara B. 2026 is a year that we are all looking forward to, and we are saying, what are we going to see? What are we going to deliver in that year? But as I speak to you, our warriors, the men's national team is out on duty in the Africa Cup of Nations. We wish them the best. We wish them that at least they can bring us some smile and pride, as they play for the pride of all Zimbabweans. We say, go, Warriors, go. We wish you the best. And I also wish you the best, Engineer Mudzuri, as you work to revive the once formidable political party whose harvest house, as others say, has been turned into a flea market.
Thank you. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice new year. We hope we do something in the new year, bring change in the party to make sure it grows. And if we harvest well, let's harvest well, even in the political field, targeting 2028.
Thank you very much.